Alright, what's up, dudes? Okay, we're gonna do, I really just, man, not gonna lie, I really don't feel like doing this, but I need to do this, and so I'm gonna do it. Okay, let's set our timer. I'll try to do an hour, and yeah. Alright, so let's jump right in. So we're working on game object arg. Need to check places. Okay, yeah. So we're doing dir check refactor concerning this, and we're questioning whether we should remove current game param completely, remove instances of object param being used for game objects, instead assign game object based on client or game ID, which is definitely doable because this rather client is imports game, so we don't have to pass it as an arg. Right, so we are doing work here, and we have some caution comments that we put, and this is one way to do this. So like basically in this instance, object would become just a locally created variable. And I've done this a few times. The fuck? What did I do? Oh, I see. Because of the caution comments and stuff, it messed up the. I see. Okay. So now I can't just like easily highlight it. I have to actually start from the bottom and go all the way to the top like this. Old school. Alright, so let's do Control F and then Alt L. There we go. Alright, so just a quick review again on the objects and whether or not we can basically make the object arg into the player. And technically, couldn't we do the same thing for the player? Like that object? Couldn't we just... Yeah, because we we import them into the file, so there's no reason for us not to use them in that way. Passing them as an arg is just kind of redundant, I think. Okay. So I will add this in things to do. We'll do the same. Yeah, so like basically this is gonna be turned into game object player object arg. So I will add, also realize that the object param, which is used to pass a player object arg, could be modified to access the player object directly via the ID in the same way. essentially we don't need the object param at all and could just assign them locally inside of the function. True. Yeah, very true. So that's what we're gonna do. So I will copy this entire function. So let's copy this entire function. We're gonna put it in, and I should actually did this before I modified this other stuff. That would have been the correct way to do that, but since I'm an idiot, I didn't do it perfectly. I skipped a step, usually like one step off. And now let's open up old feature storage. Add this bad boy in. It's gonna fuck up the indentation because that's just what it do. Now here we go. We have dir check, and what did that do? What did that do? So this was removed from client on 11.14, and we put lines. So this is to 372. So 131 to 372. And we put remove refactoring dir check to remove object and cur game params which are redundant since the objects are available through imports already. Yep. I don't know why we have this 3 dots there at the end and the colon. I didn't paste it right, I suppose. Alright, so we can close this now. Alright, so let's modify this. We can also close this file. And yeah, let's do the work now. So we're going to, I guess, just start at the top here. And we're going to remove this object entirely. Well, actually, let me slow down a little bit, and I don't know why it doesn't always stay to the left. Like I will never understand why it does that. I don't remember Atom doing that, the Atom text editor, but whatever. Okay, so we're just gonna look at all these objects one last time and make sure that they can be like assigned in a different way. So like basically we can, instead of importing it, we would literally just assign it based on the ID at the beginning of the function. Like if the dir string is player, we set object equal to the player, and based off the ID, use those two together to determine. Or we could pass in the ID. It doesn't really matter. It's one way. It's 6 one way, half a dozen the other. And then we could, we just have to make sure basically that like, should we do them at the beginning of the function? Should we do them only where they're needed? Because they're not needed, everywhere. Like in lots of the instances throughout the function, they're not necessary at all. So we might not need to assign them at the very beginning because that would just kind of be like wasteful and not optimized, It's like creating something that you're just not going to use, or that there's like a 60% chance you're not going to use, when you could just only create it when you know you're going to use it. Yeah, it's a couple more lines of code, but it's smarter. So here, this one is going to be current player. This one is going to be the same thing. Well, no, that's card object. Scratch that. This is going to be the game object. Game object as well. And for whatever reason, we didn't copy and paste this here. Like a dumbass. So let's keep on going. Alright. And then click to card. It's going to be game object. I gotta piss. I'll be right back. When you gotta go, Actually, I don't even care about disabling my fucking. Doesn't matter. Here we go. Back at it. Okay. So we are just, god damn it. It doesn't matter. I'm not highlighting it again. All right, so then we have click cards list. Click card. So let me just scroll through it and see like how many of these don't use object and how many do. So card group data, that's only for card. That's dir string would be dir string would be like deck or something. Player, game, or deck. So that's the three that we use. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm not sure actually. Card group data is deck, right? I should know that. It's not? Hmm. Card group data. Okay. Oh, so we do have only in case of card group data, so it's card. So we need to update this. It's worth adding that. Okay. So yes, that means get rid of that. Like, why did I actually look that up though? Oh yeah, right. So we're scrolling through. I want to see which ones use object and which ones don't. So card group data, which would be for card, dir string, because I'm thinking dir string is what I'm going to use to assign this. I'm just going to go off of that, and probably at the beginning, if object is used thoroughly enough. So then skeleton deck, which will be deck, okay, and then this one is for player. So card and deck don't use object so far, but player, the first one did, and let's just see if they all do. So this one is clicked cards list, clickable card list, and this is going to be game. Pretty positive on that. And that one does use object, okay. And then next one is skeleton clicked card, which I checked that one and it's game. Okay, yeah, right. So it's game. And that one uses object, okay. Next one is skeleton draw card, which is player, and it uses object. And then we have else, and it says, so I don't know if this encompasses everything. I don't want to just rely on this, but if it is true, then well, all of these which are game use object, and then if it's a player, which only is for the name, which is only changed once, it doesn't use object. And then that's it. They're that's not entirely true actually. Then we use it down here. Well, we actually use it, okay, right here. And this is only for adder name string being equal to text input final. I wonder why this is only change attribute list and adder name is input text final or text input active. Create this in reference to the question comment, logging your received data to ensure the proper value for all instances. Quite certain it would be. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like we don't need this anymore. And we can get rid of this, and then also get rid of that, and then ensure received data is proper thing to be passed in all instances. Yeah, we don't have like bugs there, so I don't think we need to have that anymore. So we have if attribute is not a property, we can directly set the attribute. What's this? If their string is equal to game, else. What the fuck am I doing? Okay, yeah, I was wondering why we only have this for input text final and text input active, and I'm pretty sure that's because those two are not calculated properties. Yeah, input text final and text input active are not calculated properties, and I'll put that as a comment here. These two are together because they are the only non-property adders in this qualification. All right. Input text final. We have with cur game input text final lock. So then we just use the object here. Okay, so and then we have receive bool equals to false. And okay, so basically if received bool is false, we don't need to assign object. So first of all, and we can get rid of these old comments and stuff. So we're gonna chop these lines out. And like basically we can just get rid of this completely because like we don't do anything. There's literally no instance in which we I mean, it is nice to see this list of attributes that are handled in this scenario. Cannot think of any code that needs to be replaced here. They inside is inside of change attribute list, and there was no logic. So this is for send, and basically when we send, we would check it to see if it should not be sent for any reason, but based on like this section and my understanding of the code now after all the refactoring that we did in the past few months, like we don't even need a receive bool at all. Like we don't even need this section at all. Like, not even a little bit. Just delete the whole thing. Which is pretty cool. Delete that shit, dude. Yeah, let's get it out of here. I love deleting code. That's my favorite thing to do, bro. Get it out of here. So I'm gonna add this in things to do though, and because now that means I have like other dead code that, you know, is associated with receive. What was it called? Receive. Receive bool. Yeah. So let's go over here and we'll a new issue, which is receive bool dir check send dead code. Removed the send section from dir check during refactor. Determined it was not needed anymore. This means we need to modify associated sections which use receive bool, use assign receive bool, etc. Since this code is now dead. Yeah. Ensure not removing code we still need. And I forgot to plug my charger into this light, so it's dying. We'll charge it later, it's no big deal. Okay, so that was cool. I'm very happy with that discovery, and I think I can get rid of this div as well. That's just extra. Okay, yeah, so basically we're gonna remove receive bool as well, so let's just get rid of it since we're here, because we don't need it. We will just simply not run dir check on stuff that we're gonna send, which is great. So now we can just go down here and unindent all this code, and now this is much shorter, much sweeter, so much nicer, man. Shortening code. And let's get rid of this receive bool thing right here. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of that. So I'm just kind of going with the flow here, getting rid of everything that's no longer gonna, you know, we just might as well get rid of this as well. Receive data, 2 3 receive times that float, current game. Yeah, we're getting rid of all this, dude. Look at how nice. Other client bool arg adder name string. So we still need all that stuff, I think. We might be able to get rid of a lot more. It's fine by me. Okay, last one here. Okay. Flow section receive bool. Flow section reference dir check params. Okay. Objects, none. Get rid of that. And then cur game. Boom. Get rid of this one. And get rid of cur game. Cool. So let's see if we can find cur game. So it's gonna get removed. See, it must be passed due to card group data sections direct modifications to the card, but like that's not actually true. skeleton clickable cardless skeleton cardless sections for accessing proper timestamp adder. Yeah, we don't need to do that. It's not true. So object is also going to be removed. I love trimming code, dude. Love it, love it, love it. You want to make me smile, dude? Tell me to delete some code. Receive timestamp floats. Okay, so we got rid of cur games. Just get rid of that comment. We're gonna remove object here, and we're gonna remove cur game. See ya. And we have 8 more instances of it. Well, we are gonna have to replace this. So what we'll do at the very beginning is we'll say if dir string is equal to, what is it, game, and we don't capitalize it, I don't think. So we'll bookmark this line, and then to come back to it, yeah, and then we'll do look for dir. Yeah, so that's how we check it elsewhere. We use get rid of this. Yeah, I got this shit figured out, bro. I'm so like, bro, I've got this project under control. It's amazing. Finally there, dude. Player game. Like, honestly, we need to make a final line-by-line review of their check after these changes, because this is kind of a big change, and it's gonna really require us to just go back through and so I'm gonna add this dir check line by line review. After refactor, go line by line through your check. To ensure everything is 100%. And we'll move this down here to be okay. There we go. Let's go back to what we were doing, and it's like, alright, yeah. So if dir is equal to game, then we will call the game object so if dir is equal to game, if, and I'm pretty sure like this should work, we should be able to just do current client .id is equal to 1. We would then say game object equals p1 game. Easy. And then we just have the else, which is like saying, yeah, elif current client ID is equal to 2. The game object is going to be the p2 game, and then we have, oops, elif, and then let's just copy all this. The dir is equal to player, current client ID is equal to 1, then the player object is gonna just be p1, and then here change this to be player object. This is going to be P2. There we go. And so let's just review. Let's div it out. Oops, I hit the wrong button. That's the only thing about this low profile keyboard is I'm still not used to it. I mean, of course, it's only been a couple days since I had it, but since the keys are so easily accessible, a lot of I do tend to have more errant key presses, but I can fix them like way faster, so it's worth it. And I can type a lot faster, even having not like becoming used to it completely at this point. Alright, so let's review. We have if dir_sure is equal to game, which is the proper like way that it's framed if it were to do a case check for capitals or whatever. It's all lowercase. So if dir_sure is equal to game, it will then check current client ID equal to 1. And in that case, game object will be P1 game, else, meaning if current client ID is equal to 2, the game object is P2 game. Then we have elif dir_string is equal to player. If current client ID is equal to 1, player object equals P1, and then else, which is elif current client ID is equal to 2, player object equals P2. So that looks good to me. We're going to give it the double stamp of approval, and it's perfectly fine to assign this universally, like every time dir check is called, because it will always be used from the review that we just did, and especially the modification wherein we removed the send section, so it will function perfectly for this. Now we can search for object, and we're just going to basically go through and replace object with game object or player object, depending on which one it requires. So right here, this one is player, so we're going to use the player object, and now get rid of this extra comment that we don't need. That should work, I believe. Now we have, we're gonna have to do cur game as well, but let me not forget that. I'm gonna add that to things to do so I don't forget that. I'll just put don't forget cur game replacement. And we also have our, Control Alt N to go to our next bookmark, and we can remove that bookmark now. So we'll go back to where we were, which we should have bookmarked it. Ironically, it's funny, we went to remove a bookmark and realized I should have before I did that. Okay, so here's the next one. So this is game. So I can just actually change these since I'm right here. We'll put game object. I'm pretty sure we can do this because that's what it's gonna be. We're gonna use the game object time. Click card list. I really hope I'm not causing bugs. I don't want to be an idiot here, but quite certain that's the right thing to do. So game object, card list, card group equals game object, clickable card list. We can get rid of this extra little comment here, we don't need it. Switch that one, get rid of the comment, and change this to game object. Boom. Alright. Game object, click cards list, and all these are game. So should all be proper code. Alright, next one. This one is game. And see, the color coding of the text is so amazing. Like, I couldn't imagine coding without color coded text. It is so just, it's awesome. In so many ways, it makes coding more fun. And it just helps in so many ways as far as like productivity, aesthetics, like all that. It just makes it such a wonderful thing, especially also like the dark background, being able to have stuff like that is it's just really nice. It's so much easier on your eyes. Object equals clear object. Oh, see I fucked up here talking? I made a mistake. This is skeleton draw card. This is actually player. Gotta pay attention, guys. Which means shut the fuck up. Okay, so we changed this. But yeah, we do need the distinction for the dir string. Yeah. So this is gonna have to be changed to game object, and then this one is just gonna be okay, and else. So these are gonna be game and game object. What is this? Like what is this one supposed to apply to? So this is I see. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do this differently. Actually, we're gonna assign object equals player object. How about that? And then for game, object is gonna be game object, right? Because it's already assigned, I believe. It's assigned every time dir check's called. So then, and for deck, I'll put a comment here. I'm not sure we need that. Do we need object assignment for this instance? And now we'll get rid of the if dir_str is equal to game thing. Get rid of the else because that's just a dir_str distinction. And now these are exactly the same. The only difference is that one of them has and as you can see, they're the same. So we get rid of them, or one of them, and instead of game or player object, we'll just pass object. And then we change these to just be with object. Same thing here, with object, and then else set adder. This is also just going to be object because we don't need the locks for that. Okay. So I want to say that would be it because that's the end of that function. But what I'll do is go to the top. We're going to do a final review real quick. Cur game replacement. So let's do that. I think we already took care of it, but let's make sure we did. Okay, so we do have this one right here. So this is actually okay. I see what we need to do. We can do if current client ID is equal to 1, because we don't well, actually, if this is, we can even like do this smarter up here. If dir_str is equal to game, so we can do it like this. We can say if dir_str is equal to game or card, right? Because card group data is the only one associated with the card dir string, and the only time that like we don't use object in that section, but we do use cur game. But now we can just say if dir_str is equal to game or dir_str is equal to card. So if it's game or if it's card, and we'll check the ID and assign the game object, and then we'll just use game object draw window main. Boom. And that takes care of all that. Go to things to do. Get rid of this. And we have game object, player object, arg. Need to check place where game object, blah blah blah. So let's look for game object over here just to be sure we did get all of them. Or well, that's not gonna work because that's we replaced everything. But game object use P1 game object P2 game. We can make sure we're maybe a little bit more thorough, because when you're an actual programmer and you work for a company, you know, I'm like, oh, in this project I can let the bugs find themselves. I don't have to be super thorough in my review because the bug will be apparent by crashing it at runtime. But like when you're an actual programmer, you don't want to work like that. You want to give a thorough review to your code, like, because if something's wrong and doesn't get caught by like the person that reviews it, then when it goes to production, or when it tries to go to production, if you didn't fucking review it, you assigned game object when it should have been player object. It's like, it creates a lot of work for other people to say, oh no, that's wrong, actually you got to go back and fix it, and then it's, you know, like handing a bucket from one person to another, when you would have just noticed there was like something in the bucket you could have just took out right there and fixed it. Would have saved a lot of time. So let's just make sure we're doing this right. So this one is game, so it should be game object. Same thing throughout. This is still the same one. This is game, so it should be game object. And then we have this one, which is for all game adders, so that's correct, I think. And here, that's associated with dir string game, so that's correct. Now let's do player object, and right, that looks good. This is for player, so we pass player object, player object, and then dir string player object. Okay, cool. So it looks good to me. I think we really did it, guys. I think that, what is this? Once we remove the comment, which shows the game state, we have to recreate this comment. First ensures the correct game state before applying the proposed alterations, and then checks to see which method should be called in the card for each entry in the data. Yeah, like we don't even need this fucking comment, like, at all. Peace, dude. Get it out of here. And this should actually be right there. Okay, so I think like that's actually it. We're supposed to do a line by line. Let me just read through this. So you use game object arg, replace with game ID, simpler and faster, dir check refactor, remove cur game param completely, remove instances of object param being used for game objects. Yep, also realize object param. Yep, we don't need the object param at all. Receivable dir check send dead code. Remove the send section from dir check during refactor terminal is not needed anymore. This means we need to modify associated sections. Yeah, we still have to do that. And then we have dir check line by line review, and I'm like, honestly, we can just run this test real quick, and we might be able to just sneak past having to do that review. I don't want to be like lazy, but I feel really confident in the refactor I just did, and it really wasn't like that much of a change. Something's probably messed up though, and my reasoning is that it's going to be apparent whenever we run it. See, there we go. So something was wrong. It's 292 in dir check. Okay, so we have dir check line 619. The client bool false. Adder name string 22 before send. Then it goes to client 292 in dir check. If get adder game object time is greater than receive timestamp float. So greater than is not supported between instances of int and none type. So why didn't that error happen before though is my question. It seems like that error would have should have showed itself this either way. So was that code just not working actually? That code was not alive until we did the refactor and now it's alive, or was it working correctly and then we just broke it? Because let's just jump to that line real quick. I don't think that there's any reason to get out of game object and we can grab the timestamp is greater than the received timestamp float. So it starts off as none. So I was gonna say we could just set the timestamps to default to 0, but we handle or might handle the timestamps in other places, and modifying that might affect places that expect it to be none, which is cheesy, expecting it to be none. But to be safe, we'll just instead opt for a more safer solution, where we would say if get adder game object time adder name string is not equal to none, so the timestamp can't be none. Checks that first. If it's equal to none, it's just going to break out of this. If it's not equal to none, it will continue, and then it will check if the get adder of the game object time adder name string is greater than the received timestamp float. I think that should work. So let's kill the server. Well, maybe we don't have to kill the server. Okay, there we go. It's working. Now, okay, we have a problem here. It's not displaying anything. Uh-oh, here we go. Okay, so we have the same error at 292, and it's going to the AND, but so that means it's not equal to none, but it is none type. So do we put none type? I don't think that's how we do that. That's not right. Well, obviously this is not even the right syntax. Come on, man, let me kill the script, bro. There we go. Okay, let's run the server again. Try to run the client again. Because I'm saying none type's not defined. That's just bad syntax. And then if we do none type like this, so let me kill that server script, so we'll run the client and then cheese it out. Okay, we killed it, and then run the server again. Okay, and now it's saying not supported between instances of int and none type. So that's not working either. It's still saying that it's still saying that we could do try except, but I'm just gonna go for the other option that I had that I wasn't gonna do, and that's gonna be to look for all instances of this, and we're gonna default these to be we're gonna default it. Oh, and then game object, I just realized well, we do have to pass it to data transfer function. So I was gonna say we can fix. We still need to check the game object. I forgot elsewhere. I assume that the only like place that was being used as a param was in data transfer function and then in dir check, but there could be other places. Check other places functions where we use object or rough equivalent as a param. When we could use ID instead. Because yeah, we didn't actually like really check everything. I was just assuming dir check was where the buck stopped. It was the final instance, and I'm not paying attention here. Time tube. Right. Hiding. Where are y'all hiding at? Fuck is this shit, man? Oh, wait a second, bro. These. I'm dumb. I'm an idiot. I just kind of tired, I guess, and actually, these are set to. They are set to 0, so I'm reading this wrong. Oh, duh. Yeah, it's in. So the first one's fine. It's the receive timestamp float that's the problem. I'm dumb. So you gotta pay attention, bro. Gotta pay better attention here. So this can go back to its old self. So it's actually receive timestamp float here is the problem. So I'm just gonna stop here. Honestly, I'm tired. I'm ready to quit. Receive. Alright, so we stopped at 293 in clients. Let's go over here. actually. Alright. Now we're gonna stage our changes because we're done for the day. Let's put the time 8:10 to 8:12. Go up here. Put this time 10:18 to 11:21 and 7:02 to 8:12. So we did an hour and 3 minutes, and then an hour and 10. So that's an hour and 15, which is 2.25. Give or take a couple minutes. Copy this. It won't let me kill this script, so I'll have to trick it, and then we'll move out to the root of the project directory, which we have done. Git branch, and then we'll do git add dot to add everything. Git commit -m double quote paste double quote to commit. 8 files changed, 519 insertions, and 326 deletions. How did we gain 200 lines of code? That's not right. Oh, that's because of adding to old feature sorts. So actually, yeah. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Now we'll do git push Canasta secondary, and that's going to push to our remote repo, and a little bit of time, but it did it. Now we're going to close this out. We will go over here and go to programming, projects, Canasta. We'll copy the old one, go to the backup. Copy the new one. Now we go to the backup, delete the old one, paste in the new one, and wait for that to complete. Then we're going to enter into it. We're going to check text devlog control end. The date is correct. Everything looks good. And now we go back to the folder for the backup, renaming it to today's date. So we know that's the last time we did a local backup. Alright, so that was it, guys. Lots of good progress. Almost done with this entire project. Like, I'm actually there. I felt like I was close, and then I feel like I'm basically done. I have to do the final touches on it, and I'm gonna add in the perfect save system. Maybe I'm not. It just depends on like how I feel, and fix a couple of those aesthetic postcard movement, and just, tidy it up a little bit, make it a little bit more presentable. Nothing more than just a few hours worth of work tops, and move on to learning and implementing a database, and then like hosting it online and all that shit. And maybe we'll do that if it requires big refactor. I'm probably not going to do it. I can always display that skill set in a different project. Doesn't have to be attached to that one. But anyway, have a good night. See you tomorrow, maybe not.